is a relatively new story. Began trading in October 2017. Prior to that, we were a private company exploring for nickel in the Cape Smith Belt of Northern Quebec. In 2016, we made a large gold discovery to the north of that project, and that's going to be the center of my talk. I'll make some forward-looking statements. I'll have you read that at your leisure. There's a few key things I want you to take away from this presentation. First, we have a brand new gold belt. This is a belt that's never been explored before. The Kegavik project is very large, 350 square kilometers of land. We've got high-grade gold across the whole 40-kilometer strike length of this project. And again, it's never been explored before we were there. Last year, we financed the project with two financings of $4.6 million. We brought a strategic investor in with Alamos Gold. So we were well financed, got some good strategic holders, Alamos, Dundee, and RNC. Dundee and RNC were the holders of the private company, so that's where they came from. We still have the West Raglan Nickel Project. This is a very large nickel project, over 400 square kilometers of land, 55 kilometers long, high-grade PGEs, very similar grades to the Raglan Nickel Project that Xstrata runs not too far from us. And we're looking to JV that, and we're getting close on that as we speak. And we're in Quebec, one of the best places in the world to mine, as the Fraser Institute puts out every year. That's our management team and board. Just give a quick history on my background. I'm a geologist, worked for the Agnico Eagle Group for about 15 years. I became an equity analyst, worked with TD in Scotia. Then I was a portfolio manager with the Dundee Group, Goodman and Company. While I was there, I became CEO of Eagle Hill Exploration and helped orchestrate the four-way merger to create today's Osisko Mining. Osisko Mining is the company that's operating the Windfall Lake deposit in Quebec, now an $800 million company. It was a $15 million company when we did the four-way merger, so things did quite well there. We share a management team with the RNC group, Tim Hilaire, Alger St. Jean, Michel Sorrentino, great group of people that we use with RNC to keep our costs low. And our board of directors is quite experienced. There's our market cap slide. I'll have you look at that at your leisure. Basically, we have 95 million shares outstanding. We have over $1 million in the bank and some good shareholders. So this is where we are. Like I mentioned, the Kegavik project is a very large 350 square kilometer project in the northern part of the Cape Smith Belt. We've been working on it since 2016, about 21 weeks on the ground because of the field season there. The other project we have is the West Raglan project. It's the nickel project. It's a 470 square kilometer project in that same belt, about 90 kilometers from the Raglan road network, so it's well positioned. We've got a number of large mineralized lenses there with very high-grade nickel copper PGEs, and we're going to move that forward with a JV. One thing I'd like to state is the eastern part of the Arctic has never seen really any gold exploration. The western part of the Arctic, where Meadowbank, Meliadine, and Hope Bay are, has seen lots of gold exploration since the late 70s, early 80s. So it's relatively a new dawn in the eastern part of the Arctic, and we're quite excited about it. When you look at our project and where it sits in the Cape Smith Belt, the northern part of the belt is back arc basin type rocks. The lower part of the belt is the spreading ridge rocks, and that's where you find the nickel deposits. That upper part of the belt has never been explored. The only reason we got there is there was an old Falconbridge drill hole where they had hit 3 grams over 10 meters looking for nickel, and that's why we got excited in that area and started looking around, and we staked the 40 kilometers of land. It's the same kind of tectonic setting as the Ashanti Gold Belt in Western Australia, the Flin Flon Belt in Manitoba, the Tammy Belt in Australia. So this is a really prolific type of gold belt in the world, these Proterozoic belts. Same kind of tectonic setting and age setting, so we think it's got the right endowment. We found about 12 different mineralized showings on the project, and we'll talk about those now. This is the map of the project that got me excited. This is just grab samples at surface across the 40-kilometer trend. You can see samples up there up to 640 grams per ton. This is a very high-grade project with gold across the entire length of the project. Remember, no one's been here before, so it's like going into Rouyn-Noranda in 1910 and being the first to discover the Horn gold mine. So a lot of work to do here, but it's very early days. There's no history of exploration work. There's no 40 years of different people drilling. What we've done is all there's really been. We have done some drilling in the 21 weeks of work. We've discovered some large, thick gold mineral intersections. We've discovered some gold and copper intersections. We'll talk about these as we go on here. That's the history of our work really through 2016, 17, 18, and 19, 21 weeks on the ground. Less than 6,000 meters of drilling, including the 2 Falconbridge drill holes, so not a lot of drilling. Our project basically has 2 areas that we focused on this year, the Interlake and IP Lake area in the center, and the Esperance areas to the west. The Esperance area is a copper gold area. The center area is 2 big shear zones. We'll talk about those. Basically this year we drilled 6 different drill holes in 3 different geological environments. We hit gold in all 6 of them, so that was exciting, and they were spaced by 18 kilometers, so very much prospecting with the drill. And these drill holes, we discovered gold in an intrusion. We've discovered gold in 2 different shear zones, and we continue to believe there's more gold to be discovered here, and we believe we have the potential for multi-million ounce deposits. I'll just give that's a summary of the drilling we did. You can pick up a copy of the presentation at my booth or at on the website. Let's skip ahead here. Probably the key area that we want to follow up next year is the IP Lake shear zone. This is a over 10 kilometer long shear zone that we newly discovered this past year. It sits on the boundary of an iron formation to the south and Mayfield Volcanics to the north. We've got these large dispersion trains that are coming down to it from these glacial dispersion trains. Ice direction here is south to north. You can see that 648 gram sample there and a number of others. So we're quite excited to get in there and drill those 3 target areas you see there in the coming year. That's the focused intrusion. We basically drilled a hole in this middle of this intrusion where we had a number of samples around the edge of it that were running gold, and we've hit gold throughout the entire thing. So we like to get in there and do some more mapping in this area. It's very bouldery. It's almost like Mordor, you know, in the Lord of the Rings movie. So this is an area that needs to be mapped in great detail to understand the geology here, but we think we have a stockwork type zone here. Grades up as high as 8.5 grams. One of the areas that I think has one of the best potential is the Esperance area, 4.5 kilometer long copper gold zone. We have grades over 6.5 grams copper gold combined, over 7 meters. We did our VTEM survey this year. You can see some of our drilling didn't really hit the best parts of these targets, so we like to go back in and drill the guts of these EM anomalies. We were drilling the edges of them, which is what the IP identified. Great relationship with the First Nations in the far northern part of Quebec. We employ quite a number of people, and we use as many of their companies as possible. So we've discovered what we think are extensive mineralized structures associated with zones of dilation on the property. We've intersected gold mineralization in many different structures, separated by 18 kilometers in this year's drilling. We think we have no short of additional targets to drill in the coming years, and we'll be looking at those as we move forward here. The other project we do have is our nickel project, same kind of grades as the Raglan mine. Raglan's a world-class asset, situated just to the east of us. The grades that we have, you can see them on this map here, especially the frontier zone, are very, very similar grades, over 3% nickel, 1.5% copper, and 3 to 4 grams per ton PGEs. So this is a very high grade property, and we think the potential for discovering Raglan type mineralization here is very large. There's the frontier zone. You can see 2.5 kilometer strike with grades, very, very good grades with great PGE grades. At the Raglan mine, they basically mine the copper and nickel for free because the PGEs pay for it. Looking at our market cap and where we're sitting, we're at the bottom of the chart here at $4 million. There's a lot of companies above us with very similar type projects. We think that a re-rating for our company is coming here. We're a new company versus most of these guys. So look for us to come in the near future. We have the nickel JV coming, and we have a new project we're looking at acquiring soon. So our stock price will get re-rated in our view. When you look at what we're a company with a very large land position. We have over 800 square kilometers of land in the northern part of Quebec. We have it 100%. We've discovered high-grade gold showings on our gold property across end to end. It's an untested project, very underexplored, 21 weeks on the ground. We think the potential for multi-million ounce deposits is large because of the gold in both till and the golden surface samples that we've discovered to date. Remember, 648 grams, 400 grams, lots of high-grade numbers at surface. And we have a very large project, so the potential for more than one deposit is there. And we're in a very safe, proven jurisdiction that's very supportive of mining.